Good morning, friends, and welcome to week 4 of our self-care class. I can't believe it's already week 4. You guys are more than halfway done this course. I'm so impressed and so proud of you for all of the work that you've done, all of the new things that you've tried, and specifically for last week for clearing some space and some clutter and starting to be really intentional about what we're bringing into our psyche and what we're introducing into our lives. And when we organize those things, then we create more space for those other things that bring us joy and connection and all of those other pieces that we're trying to bring to fruition throughout this course. So I hope that you found success with that and you were able to take a nice deep breath after your hard work. I'm enjoying reading your reflections and kind of going through what that process was like for you. And I can't wait to continue to grade those and get through those. This week, we're moving our self-care pillar to one of health. And when I did the self-care wheel with you and this pillar of health, this is such a loaded pillar. In fact, I could literally spend an entire class just talking about this one pillar because within that health, there's a lot of pieces. So when I was kind of sifting through all my information and all the content and all the things that I know to be true about health and well-being, I was trying to find something that was very organized and succinct. And so I once again relied on Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's work because I have interacted with him so much and read some of his books and have listened to his podcast. He's a holistic general practitioner and he has a wealth of knowledge about looking at health as a whole system. And so this week, a lot of the content and the coursework is going to be surrounding some of his pillars of what we call health. The other piece, and what I want you to keep in mind throughout this week, is all of us are at different places with our health journey. So some of us are really dialed in our nutrition and we know what fuels our bodies the best, and we're kind of focused on eating those things that we feel our optimal self. And others maybe are just starting that journey, and maybe with movement or maybe with sleep. And so there is a little bit of a choose your own adventure component to this week's module because I want to meet you where you are and also give you resources that support your specific journey. So just keep that in mind as I share my screen and go through what the expectations are this week. Give me one second. Okay. So when you're looking at our week this week, and you notice that there are a couple action items here. The first one are some podcasts. So I told you I listened to Dr. Chatterjee's podcast, and at the end of 2019, he did one of those like best of podcasts where he took all the different people he interviewed and he spliced it up into these kind of mini conversations surrounding these different pillars. So I first listened to him on a Calm masterclass, and I actually linked that here. If you have the Calm app and you haven't listened to this masterclass, I strongly suggest doing so because he looks at 4 pillars of health that we're going to tap into in that next action item. And I just loved this masterclass so much because it's super short. Each one of his pillars, I think, is about 20 minutes. And just the information in there is so clear and concise that I think you would get a lot of little wisdom gems from there. It is totally optional because not all of us have the Calm app. So don't feel like you have to download or buy or subscribe just to listen to this. It's more of just here's a resource that was really helpful for me. What you are going to have to do, though, is you're going to have to interact with 2 of 4 podcast episodes that I'm going to list here. And again, this is his conversation with a lot of different interviewees and him kind of taking out those little pieces that he wanted you to kind of listen to and bring clarity surrounding these topics. So the first one is on sleep. If this is something that's been a goal for you, that you really want to get your sleep in check, that you want to start doing that PM routine where you're winding down and you're turning out the lights and you're beginning to kind of set yourself up for what the optimal sleep would look like, this would be a really good podcast for you to listen to. This one's on body and movement, and he talks about different forms of movement, what movement does for your body, both mental gains and physical gains. This one's on connection. So he talks about the heart and how if you're searching for deeper connections or relationships, this might be a good one for you to listen to. And the last one is on your mind. So it's going to talk a little bit about mindfulness, mental health. So whichever one of these are calling to you, and again, I'd like you to pick 2. I'd love for you to listen to these, and then you're going to discuss your takeaways with your group. So you'll be in your support groups again. You're just going to say, these are the 2 I listened to. These were some of the wisdom that I gained from this. This is how I might utilize this in my day-to-day or how to support my SMART goal. And that's really it for this assignment. To continue with this thread, the next action item is around those 4 pillars of health that I was talking about before. Oops, sorry about that. computer. There we go. So he wrote a book called The 4-Pillar Plan, and he looks at these suggestions for your mental, physical, and emotional well-being to start to hone in on some of these pieces. And the idea of this is like, it could be these short, simple practices that are just bringing intention to your days. So I want you to pick one of these 4 health pillars. The first one's relaxation. This is going to be creating space for stillness or mindfulness or some type of solitude. Some of your SMART goals have include creating more mindfulness into your days. How are you being more present? How are you creating space for yourself? And so here's some suggestions and some things that I'd like you to maybe try. Maybe about 5 minutes of conscious quiet time. I put some apps that I really like right here. Maybe trying to go completely screen-free 1 time per week. We used to do screen-free Sundays, my family and I. So my husband and I would put our phones away on Sundays, and literally we would be like out of touch, out of commission. So it just gave us that focused attention on our family and what's important to us. And it was such a relief not to have to like lug your phone around with you. I know that there are some issues with like safety and people want to make sure that they have it, but if you can do your best to like off and away for 1 day a week, it can be so liberating and feel so good. If this seems like a little much for you, the other thing that we do is when my husband gets home from work at 5:30, we both put our phones in a drawer in our kitchen. And from 5:30 to 7:30, we call that conscious parent time or family time. And we make sure that we just have our phones on silent and we don't interact with them at all, because our kids go to bed around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So that time is very sacred to us for us to connect and be together. So that's just something that you might want to try. Try journaling or using a gratitude journal to record what went well in your day. My husband actually created these cards. They're called 3x5 Life. And on the back of them, it has AM gratitude and then PM wins. And so every day I fill these out. It also has a task list and a scheduler. And I love this card so much. I actually have like a little thing on my phone that I took it into. But that PM wins piece at the end has been such a nice way to reflect on my day and to pull out those pieces that fill me with gratitude and joy and kind of let go of all those things that maybe didn't go as planned. And it's such a nice thing for your mental chatter to kind of get yourself in that mindset right before bed. Create a calm music playlist to put on in the car in the evenings. I love Spotify. We do have a subscription, but that's just because I'm music obsessed. But if you can make some type of playlist, even from like an Apple playlist that just has like calm, soothing music, this is such a nice way to create mindfulness in your day. And instead of listening to people talk at you or like lyrics, it just allows you to kind of check out for a second and be. So those are some activities. You don't have to do all of them, but maybe choose some of these if this is the pillar that you select to practice this week. For eat, there's so much I could say for this. I think in our coaching calls, I talked about intuitive eating and just really getting in touch with your body and what it's asking. We are all bio individuals, meaning like our body's composition is not the same. So what food is fuel for me could be something completely different for somebody else. But some things that I know will really help you is denormalizing sugar. So retraining your taste buds. If you can go a week and try to avoid processed sugars in your food, you actually can retrain your taste buds within 7 to 10 days. So let's say you cut out sugar for 7 to 10 days. When you go to eat something like a sugary cereal, you will notice the difference because your taste buds will no longer crave it. The other cool thing, not just your taste buds, but your gut microbiome. Your gut biome is your second brain, and it actually signals cravings to your brain that makes us eat specific things. So when you reset your taste buds, you're also resetting the gut bacteria, and the bacteria will start to crave healthier foods. So just something to think about. Unprocess your diet. I'm a huge, huge proponent of looking at the ingredients list. To be honest, I could care less how many calories are in something or how much fat or protein. I know that that's important, but more than anything, I want you to be able to pronounce the food that you're eating. If you think of our body as a biological system and you're eating food that your body doesn't recognize, it's literally like a do not compute. It doesn't compute what you're eating. And that's when you start to get those buildups of fat and toxins and inflammation. When your body recognizes, oh, this is a fat, this is a protein, this is an amino acid, I can break this down and digest it. That is what you want from your body as a machine. So start to think about the ingredients you're putting into your body. Is it something you can pronounce? Is it something that's not overly processed? I've talked about this with some of you, but try eating in a 12-hour window. So try to finish eating 2 hours before bedtime if you can, and then give yourself that 12-hour window from the time you eat to the time at dinner, to the time you eat breakfast, because it really gets that digestive and toxin, it gets rid of your toxins and helps with digestion and all kinds of wonderful things. It creates less brain fog. So just something to try. Drink at least 8 glasses of water per day. When you wake up in the morning, you are already so dehydrated because while we sleep, we lose a gallon of water a night while we're sleeping. So when you wake up, your body is already dehydrated. So starting to hydrate is so, so important. And then sitting down and eating at least 1 meal per day without any distractions. So this is a really, really tricky one, especially if you're home all day with your families. But if you can even take like a snack and eat it, out on the deck or something or outside, or just a moment of quiet, it can be so nice to just pay attention to what you're eating. So that's the other pillar. And again, you don't have to do all of them. You can pick one, you can pick two, you can just interact with these however you want, but you're honing in on one of these pillars. The movement one, if movement has been a goal for you and you really are looking for things to do, find natural ways to include movement throughout your day. So walk more, play catch or soccer in the backyard. My family and I, my kids and I, in the mornings to start our day, we put on Kid Bop and we have like a full-blown dance party, like to the point where we are like sweating. And I do like this follow the leader thing where I'll be like, put your arms up, put your hands down, move to the side. And it's such a good workout. And it just makes us so happy. When you dance, it releases endorphins and, your cortisol levels go down and it's movement. So just think about those natural ways to play and move. Try at least one strength training activity per week. This could literally be like I used to do on my countertop, like when I was waiting for my kids, like shakes or whatever to be made, I would hold onto my countertop and just do like little push-ups like this. It could be, some type of sit-ups. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. My husband literally has a timer on his phone that goes off, I think, every 30 minutes. And when it goes off, he's at his office and he just does like 20 or to 50 push-ups. So something like in small increments. I'm not saying do that. I'm just giving you some food for thought. Stretch or incorporate yoga. I love the Down Dog app for yoga. It's such an awesome way to like choose your own system for yoga. You can pick gentle, restorative, you can do flow, you can do how much time, you can do a body part that you want to focus on. So maybe movement is something that you want to highlight this week and really tap into. And the last one is sleep. And I know I've talked forever because I told you this is something that I could literally do a whole class on. But this is creating that very dark, free from distractions place for sleeping. Try to mess with like what the temperature is in there. Make sure that there's no light. Maybe get some blackout curtains, no phones or devices in the bedroom at all while you sleep for this week. Create a stress reducing, calming bedtime routine. Think about what you do to set yourself up for sleep. If you're go on screens, on devices, and then immediately turn it off and you expect to fall asleep, that's where a lot of our, waking up in the middle of the night and having restless sleep. Start to give yourself some time. Maybe you take a bath. Maybe you are writing in your gratitude journal or listening to that calming playlist, something that's setting you up for quiet. Maybe you're reading. Try to limit your caffeine before noon and then stop eating that 2 hours before bedtime, or completely unplug at least 30 minutes before bedtime. So that means everything, even Kindles that have the backlight. You don't want that blue light to kind of disrupt your sleep. So those are 4 pillars. They're 4 big pillars. If you want to like go big or go home and you want to do all 4 of them, awesome. If you want to just pick and choose a couple of those little suggestions from there, awesome. But these are some really good, small, simple techniques to start paying attention to these areas in your life, because when we can get these in check, you'll start to see all these benefits that happen afterwards. Your mental health will be better. Your connections and your relationships will be better. Your focus and attention will be better. So that is your goal for this week. And then you are going to, with this one, this is more of your own reflection. So you can include this as a journal entry, a direct response. You can attach a document. You can make me a video where you're just talking. You can audio record, however you want to talk about what you did. At the end of the week, you're going to reflect on those practices. All right. I'm trying to speed this up. I think the last piece is just your weekly reflection that you always do. And this is just going to be reflecting on your SMART goal and where you're at with that, how I can support you, how I can help you. And then you'll also notice that down here, it says date, time, coordination for group call. So the last piece of this is we have one more Zoom meeting, but we're going to meet as a support group. So you're going to have to throw out some times of day. I actually gave you some dates as parameters to kind of like narrow it down a little bit. So either the 15th of July, the 16th, the 17th, or the 20th. if you could find a time that works for all of you, it could be in the morning, it could be in the evening, it could be, in the middle of the day. I purposefully have kind of cleared my schedule to meet your needs, so I'll work around you. But if you could kind of within your group have a discussion about what time would work best, and then once you have that time, just let me know, or I'll check in with your discussion, and then I will send you guys a link to the Zoom call. And if you have any questions about that, just let me know and I will support you in any way I can. So this week, we are really focusing on health. I want you to not drive yourself crazy and not kind of become overwhelmed, but I really want you to reflect on these areas of your life and maybe look at some of those places where you can pay a little bit more attention. There's a bunch of resources here, including TED Talks and some things that I love. If you're like, I want to know more, I have thousands of book suggestions and things that I can help you with too. But more than anything, I just hope that you have an awesome week and that you spend some time focusing on your health and well-being. And I will talk to you soon. Take care.